And welcome to another edition of Ducks No Sports. This week, it's my sixth installment of my 2014 NFL previews. As this video, I will talk about the NFC South. Very interesting division, the NFC South. A competitive division in the NFC South. One of the most competitive divisions in the NFC South. In the NFC. Maybe next to the NFC West. But let's get it rock and roll because this division is wild for all four teams. Will have a shot to win this division this year, in my opinion. But we'll start with the team on the bottom last year, which was the Atlanta Falcons. Which to say the Atlanta Falcons had a bad year might be the understatement of the year because the Atlanta Falcons, just for whatever reason last year, maybe it was injuries or slow starts, whatever, they just couldn't get anything going last year. But still a competitive team. You look at how bad Atlanta was last year, but still a competitive team week in, week out. So I'll give Mike Smith's group that. But the biggest question going in the year, can they bounce back? You know, one of the biggest problems last year, I think, is when Julio Jones went down week 4. It really slowed things down for the Atlanta Falcons as their offense could never really get clicking as good. And also, Julio Jones, for such a young guy in the league, has really become one of the more clutch players in the NFL. Really like the Julio Jones-White tandem. Maybe the best tandem in all of the NFL right now. But if that is rolling, and you got Matt Ryan, in my opinion, Matt Ryan is a top 5 quarterback in the league. So you get Matt Ryan rolling, you get Julio Jones and White rolling, and if they can get anything, I mean anything out of Steven Jackson, then the Atlanta Falcons will have a chance to be one of the better offenses in the league. But what was their biggest problem last year was probably that they were too easy to play. So what does the Atlanta Falcons do in the offseason? They go and bulk up their defensive lines, bringing some talent in the offseason over, some tackles, and drafting Jake Matthews in the first round, which I really like that pick. I think Jake Matthews will be one of the more elite left tackles for years and years to come. Go in the offseason, go and get Osmawa from Miami. Very good defensive tackle. I really believe their lines will be a lot tougher this year, and I believe the Atlanta Falcons will be a tougher team to play. I think if this defense can get better than it was last year, then the Atlanta Falcons, remember, losing a lot of close games last year, so the Atlanta Falcons not that far off from being back to the NFC Championship game like they were two years ago. And I believe the Atlanta Falcons will have a huge 2014 and will have a bounce back year in 2014, and don't be surprised if this team wins the NFC South, but more that later. Our next team I'm going to talk about, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And of course, the biggest question going on the year, can Lovie Smith, great head coach, can he turn around things in year one? Will be interesting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, as they are a good team, as they've been a pretty good team on paper the last few years, but just for whatever reason haven't been able to turn around on success on the field. No, they have talent. They have talented wide receivers. They got a talented defense, talented running back in Doug Martin. Don't have the quarterback, though. That might be the biggest issue going into this year, as they don't got the quarterback coming into this year. But I really believe Tampa Bay, as they keep drafting well year in, year out, but can Tampa Bay finally put all the pieces together and be that good team that everybody expects them to be? Who knows? Could this be the year? We'll be uphill sledding, I think, in this division because this is such a tough division. I mean, you really have to win inside a division, which they haven't done really well, not playing well against the Carolinas and New Orleans and the Atlantas in the past. And to win the NFC South, you got to play well inside your division, which they haven't done. And I want to see Tampa Bay do well, but I just think it's another uphill battle for Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2014. All right, our next team I'm going to talk about is the New Orleans Saints. Who that? As the biggest question going in the year, can they win the Super Bowl? Because for this team, it's boom or bust. It's Super Bowl or nothing. And the window for New Orleans Saints year in year is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Because let's face the facts, their best player on the team is Drew Brees, and he ain't no spring chicken. He ain't getting younger. Some of these wide receivers ain't getting any younger. A lot of these players getting old. You know, Jimmy Graham is hitting his prime. So you still got Jimmy Graham. He'll be good for probably another 10 years. But let's face the facts. This defense is really hit or miss. This defense, it's either really good or really bad. They can turn the ball over, but they can certainly give up some points. And when you look at the New Orleans Saints, are they a good team? Yes. Are they a Super Bowl team? I don't know about that because you still have a lot of other good teams in the NFC, and can they still compete with the best of the best? Of course, but when it comes down, can they beat a team like Seattle in Seattle? No, I think if they're going to win the Super Bowl, then the NFC will have to come through that dome. That's the only, in my opinion, they're going to get to the Super Bowl. And if they lose a couple games early, it might be uphill sledding for New Orleans Saints to get to the Super Bowl. And our last team, of course, last year's NFC champs, came out of nowhere after getting that horrible start. Of course, I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers. And of course, the biggest question has to go in, can Cam Newton take the next step with no wide receivers? Because let's face the facts, this has been a horrible offseason for the Carolina Panthers, losing Steve Smith and every other wide receiver seems on the roster is let go. They didn't really bring in anybody that could really help Cam Newton. Cam Newton is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, he is a good quarterback, a good dual threat quarterback. He can beat you with his arm and his legs, but the question is, can he do it himself? I don't think so. Well, but again, he has a really good defense, maybe a top 5 defense in the league. Really like Carolina's defense last year, really played well. But the biggest question still is, can Cam Newton do himself on offense? And I just don't think he can. Well, the Carolina Panthers have a lot of tight games. Yes, I think that defense will keep him in a lot of games this year. But if Cam Newton can't do what he did last year, which, let's face the facts, nobody was really thinking Cam Newton as an elite guy last year. Now they are. So I think more teams will come to play Carolina. And I think more teams will be ready for Carolina. They ain't surprising anybody this year. And I think Carolina might go from first to last this year. As I think the Carolina Panthers might be in for a rough 2014. Alright, so how will this division shake down? Number 4 spot, I still have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unfortunately, I still think they're just missing a few pieces here and there, and maybe in 2015 is when they make a strike and possibly win the NFC South next year. Number 3, the Carolina Panthers. Like I said, they just lost way too much of the offseason, and I just don't see the Carolina Panthers being productive. In 2014, I think they will slide down in the NFC South. Number 2, I have the New Orleans Saints, as I believe they are a Super Bowl team, but my team who wins the NFC South this year is the Atlanta Falcons. I believe a healthy Julio Jones and a healthy defense and a healthy Julio Jones, like I said, and a great Matt Ryan can be the turnaround that we expect in Atlanta. And don't be surprised if the Atlanta Falcons go to the Super Bowl in 2014. Well, that's it for the NFC South. Should be an interesting division to say the least. But, of course, who wins the South? I say Atlanta. But I think it comes a lot down to Week 1. That's right, Week 1 when Atlanta plays New Orleans. But time will tell, but I still like the Atlanta Falcons to win the NFC South. But my next preview, I will be talking about the AFC West. Should be a good one. Oakland, Denver, Kansas City, and of course the San Diego Superchargers. But I just want to remind everybody, go on Facebook. I will put it down in the description box. But like me on Facebook, Andrew Duxbury on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter. Also put that in the description box. Of course, I'm on Twitter. I'm at Andrew_Duxbury. Follow me on Twitter because I'm pretty funny. But till next time, I'm Dux, and I know sports. Kind of.